안녕하세요, 여러분. Korean Study Junkie입니다. 준이라고 불러도 돼요. So, I thought it would be a nice idea to go over the difference between Sino numbers and native Korean numbers. Sino numbers being, of course, the Chinese equivalent, or I should say more like comes from Chinese language, originates from there. And then we have the native Korean numbers, which are native to Korean language, sometimes also called pure Korean numbers. So I've been getting a lot of questions or just noticing a lot with my students or in my group class as well. We did a few like role plays where we were in the cafe and sometimes they had to be the cashier and they had trouble with the numbers. And some were asking me, what's the difference? Like, when do I use Sino versus native? So here we are. Today I actually came to my website. So this is a blog I made. If you want to check it out, I'll link it below. Yeah, I like to put a funny GIF at the top, usually. Let's go through it. So just to get this out of the way, Sino numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Native numbers are 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, and so on. So now that we know which is which, hopefully you have spent time learning it before. Otherwise, this might be more confusing. If you haven't, just pause. Go do that. Learn 1 through 10 at least of each, and then come back. Okay, so native numbers are what we're gonna focus on first. Sino numbers, I would say, are more common because we use them for way more things. But native numbers only go up to 99. I've heard someone try to tell me there's like a 100 and all that stuff. I don't know if that's true. I just know 99 is what it goes up to. And if there is a 100 or something else, it's probably super outdated. Like, there is no 100. Once we get to 100, we switch to the Sino numbers. So when we're counting things, 100 and up, Sino. But native system is usually just for counting things, I find. So counting amount of things in general, counting the hours, counting how many people, how many years old you are, so age, used when counting out loud often. If you're a fan of K-pop and stuff like that, or watch a lot of interviews with, Korean groups, probably hear them say 하나, 둘, 셋. Or if you see Korean people take a picture, they might say 하나, 둘, 셋. Just counting out loud. Often this number system gets used. So I have a few examples here. First one is in a restaurant setting. Usually when you walk into a Korean restaurant, the first thing they ask is 몇 분이세요? 몇 분이세요? How many people are there? 몇. Let's talk about 몇 a little bit. 몇 it kind of just means several or few if you look it up. But it also is used in questions with a counter word to say how many of that. So 몇 분, how many people? 몇 명, how many people? 분 and 명 are both used for people, but 분 is considered a little more formal. So 두 명입니다. There are 2 people. I might make another lesson on the counters if you haven't learned how to use counters in a sentence yet. But yeah, counters are they represent things. So 명 in this case represents people. Whenever we need to say an amount of people, we need to use 명 after the number. So, and when we're counting hours, this is very important for time. So always the hour will be native. Last night, I slept for 5 hours. 어젯밤에 5시간에 잤습니다. 어젯밤에 5시간에 for 5 hours 잤습니다. I slept. So 시간 is hour. 시, if you translate it, also means hour, but it's only used for like when you're saying a time, like 5 o'clock. If I was going to say I slept at 5 o'clock, then I'd say 5시에 잤습니다. Counting things, of course, The counter for general things is 개. So if you ever forget what kind of counter you need to use, you can always default to 개 for most things. Maybe not people, but for most other things. So I got 7 presents on Christmas Day, or on Christmas. 저는 크리스마스에 선물을 7개 받았습니다. 저는 크리스마스에 선물을 7개, 7, 받았습니다. So you see, we have to put the item first, in this case, present, 선물. We also go ahead and put the object marker, and then you put the number, the native number, and then you put the counter. 선물을 7개, 7 presents. And then, of course, talking about ages. So, I'm 18 years old. 저는 18살입니다. 저는 18살입니다. So, 살, counter for age. 우리 남동생은 15살입니다. 15살입니다. My little brother is 15 years old. 우리 사촌은 4살입니다. My cousin is 4 years old. 4살, 4 years old. 우리 엄마는 46살입니다. 엄마는 46살입니다. And then mom is 46 years old. So if you haven't learned the native numbers, once you get to like the 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, those are all different words. They have a separate word to learn for those. So 마흔 is 40, 46, 46. Random fact, and I kind of talked about this in another video, but sometimes, well, a lot of times, it's more natural to use 우리 when you're referring to family members. Even with husbands or partners, 우리 남편, 우리 남편. So our plus husband. So our husband, even though that might seem strange, that's the most natural way to speak about family members. It kind of just shows a closeness by using 우리. You know, I made a video about why Korean people do this and when they do it. When to use 제 or 내 for my, and when to use 우리 for my instead of our. So, also, what if someone is 100 years old, but we don't go to 100 in the native numbers, remember? So it's like, how do you say that? But when a person gets to be a certain age in Korean, they actually switch the number system over, and they'll use Sino numbers instead. So even though they have a word for 90, and you can say 99 in native Korean numbers for ages, but oftentimes they'll still switch over. So once you get to a certain age, maybe like 70, then they just might go ahead and switch over. So I might make a video about the ages too. I have a lot of videos I need to make. Okay. Now on to the most popular system, in my opinion, my personal favorite, Sino-Korean numbers. These are used for most everything else. So, well, yeah, everything else, actually. For dates, money. So native was used for the hours, but Sino is used for minutes and seconds. It's used for addresses. It's used in phone numbers, and of course, numbers above 100. So like currency, the won, money as well, because we need to go to like 100,000, a million, billion, trillion, crazy numbers. So let's look at examples of each of these things. I might not have examples for everything, but that's okay. So dates. Let's say the date is 2021, January 3rd. And with the dates, we're going greatest to least. We're doing the year first, then the month, and then the day. So the year, 2021, 2021, 2021년. Make sure you put the counters there, 년. Otherwise, it's like 2021 of what? What are you talking about? Make sure you put 년 for year. 1월, January, the first month. And 3일, third day. So make sure you put 년, 월, and 일 next to their counterpart. Otherwise, we're like 3 of what? 1 of what? You know. So money as well. I have a little dialogue example for this one. 그거 얼마예요? 그거 얼마예요? How much is it? How much is this or that? It is 50,500 won. So 10,000 is man. 5만 is 50,000. 5만. So 10 or 5 times 10,000. 5만. And then 500. We have 5 times 100. 500. 5만 500 원입니다. And there should be a space there. So there should be a space between man and the rest. Minutes. I studied for 30 minutes. 30분, 30 minutes. 동안 for 공부했습니다. I studied. 30분 동안 공부했습니다. I studied for 30 minutes. Phone numbers. Looks like I don't have an example for addresses here, but I might just come up with one in a second. For phone numbers, it's really, you don't have to do any calculation. You just say the numbers back to back. So, for example, what's your phone number? 전화번호가 몇 번이에요? Or 핸드폰 번호가 몇 번이에요? It is 010-4435-4435-4435-0976 0976이에요. Of course, you have to end it with the ieo to make it a complete sentence. And then, yeah, like we said, numbers 100 and up. So I could talk through these little examples here. 785. So we have 700, 700, 80, 80, and then 5. 785. 9,412. 9,412. 9,000. 9,000. Then we have 400. 400. And then we have 12. 12. When it comes to 100s and thousands and all those things, you really just do multiplication. So if you needed 8,000, you have 8 times 1,000. So 8 for 8, 1,000 for 1,000. You put it together, 8,000. And then lastly, we have one with man, 6만, 3,350, 60,000. So 60,000 is 6 times 10,000, 6만. And then 3,000, 3 times 1,000, 3,300, 3 times 100, 300. And then for the last one, it's kind of addition rather than multiplication. 5, actually no, it is still. So 5 times 10, 50. 50. Altogether, 63,350. Addresses. So I'm going to put like an example or two of an address. So here's an address that we have here. Really, we only need to pay attention to this ending part with the numbers on it. They're all Sino. So 테헤란으로 24길 15. Right? Tehran row 24길. And then 15. And then third floor. 삼중. Chung is like floor of a building. It would be the building number in this case. I'd have no idea what this locates to be honest. And then floor of a building. Okay, yes, that's it for this video. And hopefully you understand better. Let's recap it. Native numbers, we're going to use that to count things like hours, people. We're also going to use it for ages, and it's usually used when counting out loud. Sino numbers, we're going to use that for the dates. We're going to use it for money, minutes, seconds, addresses, phone numbers, and anything above 100. So money, like we mentioned earlier, money is usually what's like 100,000, a million, you know. So yeah, that's it for today. I'll leave this lesson linked below in case you need to come back and have a quick reference to it. And go ahead and subscribe because I have many more video ideas. I'm trying to post at least once a week, but hopefully I can eventually increase that amount. Also, make sure to like the video on your way out and leave a comment below to encourage YouTube to show this to people who need it. And I'll see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, at the end of the video, I'll link a video I think will go well with this. Probably the one with Je and Uri that I talked about earlier. I'll probably link that to this, and I'll see you next time. Daome bayo!